So despite having a king as head of state, Jamaican nationals still require a visa to enter the UK.
And here to join our discussion via Zoom is former High Commissioner of Jamaica to the United Kingdom, Malune Ndombit Asamba. Good morning, Ambassador. How are you? Welcome to Smile. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. I'm doing fairly well. I have the remnants of a cold which I got when I was in the UK.
It is so good to have you with us. I said earlier, and I'm going to read something. It says of the 14 countries that have the king as the head of state.
Realm countries.
Right. Jamaica happens to be the only one, and in fact, the only country in the entire world, the nationals of which need a visa to enter or transit the country, which houses their monarch as the head of state. Anything, Gosso?
Yes.
But why?
Well, that is a very, very good question. And at first, years and years ago, I think it was in the 1980s that we started having to have a visa, because I used to go to the UK without having to have a visa.
Mm-hmm.
And then that changed. I'm not sure when it changed, if it was in the 80s or the 90s that it changed. And it is really, really unfortunate. And you said having a king, but this has gone on from when we had the Queen as our head of state. And it is, in fact, one of the very painful realities of where we find ourselves as a realm country. A realm country means, in the Commonwealth, that is, it means a country which has the monarch of the UK as our head of state still. And there are many people who seem to be of the view that they want the king or the queen to continue to be head of state, because they feel that there is some benefit that we ought to get from that position. But the truth is that we actually get no benefit. We get no benefit from that. And as you see, I was in the US 2 weeks ago. I am a former High Commissioner to the UK. Granted that I'm now in my private life, but I had a visa which expired in those 2 years when we could not travel. So I had to get a new visa, and I had to go through all the steps that anybody who has never held the kind of post that I have held had to do, which means I had to go online, fill out that form, which is about 30 pages, and you cannot move to the next page unless you have completed one page. And it's so confusing. I must tell you that I tried to do it myself and I couldn't. I had to go to my travel agent to do it. And then when I got a date for the biometrics, I had to go into Kingston to go and do the biometrics, to line up to do the biometrics. And I suppose the best thing is they have me in their system and they know who I am, so I didn't have a difficulty after that. But then I had a very anxious time trying to get my passport. And the problem is that you couldn't even get through to speak to anybody in the High Commission to say what was happening with your passport. I was told that it had been delivered. It had not been delivered, but their understanding of delivery was giving it to the
Courier.
The courier.
Right.
And I could not find out which courier had my passport. So for 2 days, even with the help of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we had to call almost all couriers who could possibly have had the passport.
Wow.
To find out who had my passport and where was it.
But why do you think the UK maintains this kind of position as it relates to Jamaica, Ambassador?
I suppose it started from when they stopped us having to be able to have easy access, because there seemed to have been a time when Jamaicans would have gone to the UK and overstayed their time. Now, when you get a visa, your entry is limited to a certain period,
okay.
Usually no more than 60 days. In this new passport I have, visa I have, I see it says 180 days.
Correct.
So it probably means that I could stay in the UK for 180 days. Mm-hmm. Now, every country has that. When people come into Jamaica with a non-Jamaican passport, they usually get a specific time that they can stay in Jamaica, even though they didn't have to use a visa. And anything beyond that time, the expression you probably know is you've overstayed your time.
Right.
I feel that a lot of Jamaicans might have been overstaying their time at the time. And unfortunately now, we see the removal of many of those people who never took the opportunity to regularize their status in the UK. If you are there and you have a right to remain, you can apply for what is called a right to remain. Unfortunately, many Jamaicans did not take advantage of that opportunity. And so you see them sending them back home to Jamaica. Now, there was a point in the 1980s, and I want to go back to, that was probably the time when you had to now begin to get the visa. When Jamaicans, not just Jamaicans, people who are in the UK, who might have gone to the UK on a British colonial passport, were invited to come in and to regularize their stay. I recall that very clearly because I had family members who had gone to the UK in the 1950s and who during that period had made sure I had to help them to get
Regularized in the UK.
and so on. And in those days, it was free. You just had to go in, and then they started to charge £50, and then they started to charge £100, and it went up. When I was in the UK, it was £1,000, and you had to get lawyers to help you to do it.
Wow.
So yes, it's a little complicated, but I want to say this, that even those countries that do not have to have a visa to go to the UK, if they overstay their time and do not seek leave to remain, they have to leave. So getting the visa is allow you in for a short period.
But what about crime, Ambassador?
No, I'm going to...
Yeah, no, because we're running out of time. I'm sorry. I sound like I'm interrupting, but I'm listening to you.
No, but it's okay. I understand. Going back to the period, it seems as if there was this view that a lot of the crime that was taking place in the UK was taking place by persons from a number of countries, Jamaica included. Mm-hmm. Some of those countries have been able to negotiate to remove the requirement of the visa. And so it would be for our country now to negotiate. It's not that the British just take it upon themselves and say, oh, we are going to remove it. More than likely, those countries negotiated.
Yeah. Ambassador, this is not a political question, but you just brought it up. But can our leaders do anything about this?
Well, our Ministry of Foreign Affairs would have to enter into negotiations with the Foreign Office in the UK. That is what I know. That is how I know the process is. There are certain times when the UK considers the issue of visas. And it seemed as if they had been considering this recently when we heard that there were 3 countries that they removed the need for a visa. There are a lot of things being said about why the visa was removed, in particular for Guyana, which is a republic, and that therefore negates the argument that some of our people have about being a republic having more rights than when you're a realm country.
Yeah.
So hopefully those persons who are holding on to that will know that that does not make a difference. And that most of the countries in the Commonwealth who do not need a visa to go to the UK are in fact republics.
Okay.
So our government would have to negotiate with the government of the UK to find out why is it that you are not allowing our nationals to come into the UK without the need for a visa. And let me tell you something, a visa is extremely expensive.
Yep.
Extremely. I just got a 5-year visa and it cost almost $900 for it.
Wow. All right, we're out of time. I'm really good to see you. Hope all is well with you and the family. Look after yourself, and next time come see us in the studio, all right?
All right, then. Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
Bye, Delia.
Bye, man.
Former High Commissioner of Jamaica to United Kingdom, Ambassador Alun Ndombet Asamba.
Wow. Well, if you don't have a visa, that's all right.
But
take a trip.
You know what she said. I was sent to to London, England, not London, England by the GFF as a younger coach. That was in the 90s. It was sponsored by the British High Commission, but I still needed a visa.
Yeah.
I still needed a visa, even though it was sponsored by the British.
Yeah.
And I still needed a visa. And,
Yeah.
and again, they give you X amount of time to stay. So she's perfectly right. But I find it strange. By the way, the other countries that I was talking about, and I said the only one, where is it? I will read all of them. If I can find it.
Page 5.
Page 5, the great Dals said. So it is, in addition to England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, the 4 constituent nations of the United Kingdom, the British monarch is head of state in 14 independent countries or Commonwealth realms: Antigua and Barbuda, Australia, the Bahamas, Belize, Canada, Grenada, Jamaica, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Solomon Islands, and Tuvalu. And we are the only country of all of that who we need a visa to go to the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
We soon come. We're going to take a trip when we come back. Not to the United Kingdom.
We have